Okay. A very good evening to all our attendees and viewers who are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. A very warm welcome to all the Saga series. A quick recap for those of you who are new to Pick a Book. Pick a Book is all about reading and more reading and inculcating the habit of reading, research, and presenting the summary of it in our regular meeting sessions. Creating a better world by changing the sense of self through the habit of reading is the vision of Pick a Book. Currently, a Pick a Book market is inspiring presence in 4 countries: India, Sri Lanka, Singapore, and UK, with over 1,200 plus readers, 18 plus regions, and 100,000 plus people inspired through our sessions, all in a span of 1 year. Pick a Book continues to spread its wings across the globe, and as a part of it, Pick a Book has come with a new initiative, a brand of its own called Other Saga series, wherein the authors can reach their readers and individuals with like minded interests. Authors can also discuss the key insights of their books, and readers can have this wonderful opportunity to know more about the book from the author himself. So today we have with us Mr. Saad Hashmi. Very
Hi,
welcome, Mr. Saad.
thank you.
Pleasure to have you. Yep,
Same here.
thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to know a little more about Mr. Saad Hashmi. Saad Mustafa Hashmi is an observer of the human condition. He has resided and worked in various places and has traveled to more than 40 countries of the world, both as a part of his profession and out of his personal interest. Travel, in his words, is one of the most enriching experiences that a person can have. He loves to study cultures, societies, and people in general, and strongly believes that everyone likes a good story. Saad Hashmi inherited the legacy of the love of literature, prose, poetry alike, from his grandfather, a well known scholar of Urdu and Persian. A technical degree in engineering could not impair his passion for literature and culture. Apart from writing, reading, or enjoying long walks in nature, he can be found spending time with his wife and 2 kids in Sweden, where the family is currently based. Saad is also passionately involved in social work and has formed an NGO in India which addresses issues like education, health, skill development. It is called A League. A very warm welcome, Mr. Saad Hashmi, once again to the show, and that brings us a beautiful introduction about you. And yeah, pleasure having you with us once again.
Thank you very much. It's good to hear good things about you.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, let us, have this opportunity to congratulate you on your first book, on this wonderful book, and then we wish you a long way in writing.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I need that.
Definitely. So, why you an avid reader? I mean, are you still?
Yeah, I started a bit late, I must admit.
Hmm.
So there was a gap, if I can say. So when I was a kid, maybe 8 9 years old, that is the first time I was introduced to Urdu poetry by my grandfather. And I always mention that because that was the starting point where my love for literature, especially Urdu poetry, started.
Hmm.
And then I got into, uh, I missed something on the way. So maybe after in my initial years, I was not so good a reader. Let's say till about the grade 10 examinations. But then after that, I picked up again, and then yeah, I would say, yeah, without, I don't want to sound boastful, but yeah, I enjoy reading. I like reading and writing both. So yeah, you can say.
Okay. Good. Okay. So, how did your journey as a writer start? Like, where did the spark happen? When did the spark happen?
Um, Well, I always wanted to write. It's just that in the grind of life,
Hmm.
when I was younger, I wanted to do a PhD in literature. Okay, English, Urdu, I did not know, but I wanted to be a. I wanted the name,
Hmm.
the DR written in front of me, not as a medical doctor, but a PhD. But then when I started studying, engineering allured me more because there was faster money in that. I have to be candid about that. And then I joined engineering, and of course, then most of the life was spent working and just reading. So about 4 or 5 years back, I thought of putting some effort into actually writing. So I started. I have been writing here and there, small blogs, some poetry, but then formally I took it about 4 or 5 years back, and then there was this book that was that's our, let's say, the family legacy or the tradition. If you remember this guy Amitabh Bachchan,
Yeah.
parampara, pratishtha, anushasan types. So that's
Mm.
something that I really enjoyed. I wanted to forward this legacy or show it to more and more people, and yeah, that's where it started. That's where my first, let us just yeah, interest in writing started, formal writing. And then I'm
Okay.
working on something else as well, which, yeah, depending on how people react to this, yeah, the second should also be on the way soon.
Good. Great to hear that. Okay, so yeah, what prompted you to take up the translation of this book, and then why is it titled Ek Nade Roz Namcha?
Okay, what basically inspired me was, first of all, like I said, it was family tradition and legacy, something that is close to my heart as it is to everybody else's heart.
Mm,
Owning a legacy in itself is a matter of pride, and the fact that it is valuable, and can be told to people, it
mm,
adds value that you can offer to the society that you're living into. There is a certain element of belonging, to a certain extent, pride also. I mean, pride not in the negative sense of, we are great and some, but the pride in terms of, that we own a piece of history that we can tell people. And interestingly, this piece of history that I wanted to put forward to people was without a view. It was not left leaning or right leaning or center leaning. It was just a common man's history of the world. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, like you read in my introduction also, I always feel that people like a good story. I think
mm,
that this is a good story to tell to people of how the life was at that time, when this gentleman was living, how the
mm,
society was at that point in time, how were people uh, related to each other, etc.
mm,
And then I wanted to tell it myself, rather than giving it to somebody else who could do that for me.
mm,
Because there, I remember there was a share, a couplet from this emperor poet called Bahadur Shah Zafar. He says that ये किस्सा वो नहीं, ये किस्सा वो नहीं, तुम जिसको किस्सा ख्वां से सुनो, मेरा फसाना गम को तुम मेरी जबान से सुनो. So it means basically it's not a tale that you want to go to the storyteller to tell you, but it's my own story, and I would like you to hear it from me. So that
mm.
was the, let's say, the second reason. And
Okay.
the third reason, which I really find interesting, and I still think that that is the most enjoyable part of the book, is the incidents that I mentioned in this. So we have seen a lot of these, learned about them. For example, the invention of gramophone by Edison in 1899. Yes, we have read that, but then when you see it in print and written by
Mm,
somebody who is related to you, he was my fifth generation grandfather. It really, inspires you. Uh, the first money basically was invented by a blind person, Mr. Faust. I had no clue
mm,
of this. When I
mm,
read in this, then I looked on to Wikipedia. Another
mm,
interesting thing that I must tell you is that I read about the death of Lord Mayo in, I think it was in 70s, 72, 74, 1872 or something.
okay.
And he went to Andaman, and he was, there was a prisoner there, and he
Mm,
killed him. He murdered him. And then immediately I looked logged on to Wikipedia, and yes, so it was so good to relate that what you have in as a part of your legacy, of your family legacy, is what is, So that was a proof of history. I think that is
mm.
really something very interesting that got me to write this or to work on this.
Okay. That's nice, actually. Oh, I
So,
love those kind of stories as well.
yeah,
Something
there were
related.
certain other very interesting things, like you could see what was the rate of rice, wheat flour, dals,
Oh, okay.
etc. There was a very interesting census done. I think it was in the late 90s of widows. How many
Oh,
widows are there in India, and then it
okay.
was published. It was very interesting. Things like this. Then you might have also, I don't know if anybody who reads the book will know that it also has mentions of the weight of the emperors. How heavy the prime minister of, sorry, not the emperor, prime minister, how heavy
Okay.
the various English prime ministers were. It's really
Okay.
interesting to see. That you don't. It's trivia, but very
Yeah.
interesting trivia. So
Yes.
if I come to know that there were about 2 lakh widows in 1900 in India, and out of them, how many were, they were also done on religious basis. How many were
Mm.
Hindus, how many were Muslims, Christians.
Mm.
These are really interesting things that you come to know and enjoy. And also, just one more thing that, about these talukdars, we have heard a very um, normally quite a negative view of Talukdar, that they sided with the British all the time, and quite a few of them actually did. But then there are also people or landed guys who got killed in the 57 mutiny, and
Mm.
that does not come to the fore so much. So it's really interesting to see, because I believe that this thing, this book, it gives a
Mm.
perspective
Yeah.
of how things were, how things are, the
Mm.
way things were at that point in time. How do we
Mm.
see it now? How much it has changed? How much it has not changed on certain aspects? So yeah, it's quite interesting. The trivia that you have, the incidents that you have. I normally think that it's a good story to tell and strikes a chord with the general population of people like us.
Yeah. Good. I personally love this kind of historical, anything that is related to, the information or stories happened then is also very interesting for me. I personally love that actually. I could
Great.
actually gain that interest, when you're, I mean, telling us about the story. So I am more keen to know more about this book now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember there was one prime minister who weighed, I think it was
uh,
one mon, what
uh-huh.
we used to call man, ek man,
Uh,
one mon at 20 years, and then they said that the next prime minister, he weighed two mons, दो मन and four चार शेर, दो मन चार शेर का, तो वो जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब थे दूसरे वाले, he was almost twice the weight of the previous one.
oh,
Very
okay.
interestingly put, and it is again, it was in a newspaper, because that is
Ah.
where he got most of his writings from. So very
Mm.
interesting, very interesting trivia, if I can say.
Yeah, true. Okay. Okay, while going through this book, Mr. Saad, what amused you, or do you recollect any incident that you spontaneously brought a smile to you?
Quite a few of them. Some of them I
Mm.
have told you. The But then, like I said, one of them was this the fate of prime ministers. But then,
Mm.
when you keep reading, it was also the fact that I could relate a lot of things to what I have been taught, or what I have read, or
Mm.
what I have seen let's say in our social parlance. For example, my nana, my maternal grandfather, he was a big fan of Akbar Allahabadi. So
Mm.
he said that he used to tell us a lot of his couplets. And then I read in this book about the Amir of Afghanistan. He had
Mm.
come to India, and there, it was said how much the Indian government was, let's say, how well they were treating him. And then there was a share of Akbar Allahabadi that my nana used to say, and I could relate to that. That this guy, when he came, and so all the so to say, machinery or the apparatus was supposed to look after him. But
Mm.
there was also Lord Curzon, Lord Minto.
Mm.
So what happened was that it was expected that he will be treated, and he was treated very well. He gave a lot of donations to in India. But then Akbar Ilhabadi said a शेर कि नहीं रुकने का मैं हरगिज परी रोके कि जिन टोके अमीर आए
Mm.
तो क्या आए मजे हैं लॉर्ड मिंटो के. So what he said was that yes, we understand the Amir of Kabul has come. He's giving a lot of bounty to India, but the amount of privilege that Lord Minto has, he does not compare to that. So it was so interesting for me to relate to that. Oh,
Mm.
Nana used to tell me, oh, 30 years back, this share. And then when
Mm.
I started reading or translating this book, I come to know of this that, yeah, Amir aaye to kya aaye, maze hain Lord Minto ke. Uh,
Mm.
and I think so. That's one thing. Then I am from Lucknow originally, and there was when I was growing up, there is this area called Kaisar Bagh, and it's a very very crowded area, but right in the heart of the city. I
Mm.
had no clue. Okay, I did have a clue, I must say, but Kaisar Bagh was developed as a palace for the ruler of Lucknow and the Nawab of
Oh,
Lucknow. But
okay.
then, if you go now, there is nothing like a palace. It's a marketplace. It's a big,
Mm.
circle,
Crowded.
lot of traffic.
Mm.
So things like this. Then I had some really interesting names also. I must say, like there was a name called Rochard in
Mm.
uh, in Urdu. I had no clue what does that mean, but then it basically means the Rothschilds family. You know,
Okay.
the family that owns all the central banks of the world. They were called.
Oh.
I mean, he is mentioned as Rothschild, and then Rockefeller. The one of the richest men ever to live on this earth. So things like these were very very interesting to know, and yeah, they did bring a smile to my yeah to me to know that this is what. So the fact that Kasarbagh was a castle, and I never
Mm.
realized that being from Lucknow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of things like that. It's very interesting
Yes.
information.
I True. I totally agree with it. In fact, yeah, a lot of things that is actually the feel why a lot of us would still love to go and visit those forts. You know, we still somewhere go to Rajasthan, and that though we don't belong to there, or when we visit them, we still be reading in our history books like this is the fort of
Exactly.
so and so, so and so, so and so, and that kind of a life they used to have. So when we just go there, that's a kind of nostalgic feel, we just go into that era back and start imagining how the life would have been, what
Right.
what what the lifestyle they would have led and things like that. So that whole feeling is very different.
Definitely. It's quite interesting. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. So what are the most important and interesting events that you recollect that made a very good impression on you?
One of them, like I said, was this, the murder of Lord Mayo. I was really,
Mm,
I know
mm,
it's nothing good to talk about. It was a murder, but then
okay.
you also see it as an Indian doing it because of because of the angst that he had against the ruling dispensation at that time.
Mm,
So that way, that is one of the interesting parts that I noticed. But apart from that, there are the amount of how do I say the amount of regard, love, that people had for the Queen at that time. It was unimaginable. The
mm,
rulers of the princely states of India, they
mm.
were all when the queen died, they actually had a mourning, and they all went to Delhi, and then they had a proper cremation ceremony for her.
Mm,
And then when the new queen was crowned in I think it was in 1905 or somewhere, I was
mm,
surprised to read that 1.25 lakh people I mean, they collected at Delhi to celebrate
oh,
the coronation of somebody who they had never seen
I see.
and probably would never see. But then,
Yeah.
that type of regard that they had for the
Mm,
for the queen,
rulers.
uh,
Yeah.
interesting. I
Yeah.
read Shashi Tharoor how much they have damaged us, but then here
Mm,
I see that, yeah, damage was there. I'm sure it must have been. But then there were also people. They might be doing out of some compulsions towards the company. I do not know, and I don't want to comment on that. But the fact that more than 1 lakh people assembled to celebrate the coronation of a queen who they would never see,
Mm,
never meet,
exactly, exactly.
fantastic things to see. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Like I said, it always gives a perspective. It very interesting things, like the population of New York. Half of the people, more than half, would not even know what is New York, where is New York. But then,
Yeah.
it is mentioned that I again, I am not that good with dates, but then it was mentioned that somewhere in the 1900s, this was the population of New York, like 45
Mm,
lakhs, 50 lakhs,
mm,
which was a very big population for us at that point in time. But then it was one of the biggest cities. So then, while we are going through the pandemic right now,
mm,
he has mentioned plague. He has mentioned tuberculosis as the biggest killers.
yeah.
So somehow you relate. At times I feel that medical science was not that developed, so people did suffer a lot because of plague
Mm,
and TB. But then
mm,
I realized that now it is developed and we still suffer with things like
mm.
corona. So
Yeah,
it gives a
exactly.
perspective.
That is true.
Exactly. A pandemic is a pandemic. You just
Yeah,
can't,
that makes it.
however developed we might be, but then, beyond a point, it's so like I keep using this word and again, but it really gives the perspective. I
Yeah.
think, in my opinion, humble or
Mm,
not, in my opinion, I think that when people come to realize, understand, know how we were, what all we have been through,
mm,
it sort of humbles you. You become
yeah.
a bit more down to earth. You're humbled is what I would say.
Mm,
Yep.
true. Exactly. Yeah, that point is very much correct. Actually, we usually don't think so. We always think that things have moved, technology have changed, and a lot of developments have happened, medically and technically, and all those things. We feel pity that a lot of people died because of the plague or because of tuberculosis, which we have overcome by the years by now. But then the new
We have
things
corona.
are hitting us. Exactly. So probably, 50, 100 years later, people must be thinking the same for us. How they must be pitying us, going
Poor
through
guys.
pandemic.
They could not overcome a virus.
Yeah,
Exactly.
true. So it's all perspective. That is very, very true. That
Exactly.
is one thing one must agree on it.
Right.
Mm,
And like I said, it really is so interesting to corroborate with what you have
mm,
read, and then what or you have read from other
yeah,
sources to come to know, and then it
true.
gets corroborated by what you are working on. So it was a very interesting journey for me. Very
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely. Okay, what aspects do you think can be bought out from the dairy in today's India?
uh, Actually, quite a few of them, if you ask me. uh,
Mm,
but I would say that there are a few things that I really feel that we can bring in today's India. One of them is like, what I mentioned earlier, that uh, how we used to stay as a society in that time,
mm,
and how things have changed or things have not changed. It's a very sad thing that friction between communities, it existed in, as early as the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, or even
mm,
before that. We are
mm.
still the same.
Yeah.
In I think it was in 1893 there was a riot in Bombay.
Mm.
94 there was 1894 riot in Pune, and then we have it again. So we hardly are learning anything from what we have suffered. No,
Yeah,
plague is
true.
something that, or pandemics are something that we don't have any control on. These are pandemics that we can control, but we are not
Exactly.
learning. So I would really like to people to see that, what is it? I mean, we are a country we as a country we should look back in history and try to improve. I
Mm.
do not see. I mean, okay, of course there have been a lot of improvements on our on some cultural aspect, but
Yeah.
then there are certain things which really pain me as an Indian, that we
Yeah.
are not able to do that. This is written by a Muslim guy, and he used to contribute to the Ram Leela. His
Mm.
cousins were talukdar, so landed guys. They used to give thousands of rupees at that time for religious
Mm.
functions. And here we
Okay.
are, after 100 years, we're still fighting 200 years. A lot of these social customs, I believe, that have been, okay, so people call
Yeah.
them evil, but let's not use that terminology, but not so like customs, they have been eradicated. But then there was also this custom of ours killing each other. That continues.
Yes.
So that's something I would like to, yeah. If there is one message I would like to take from this diary is education. You should really
Mm.
take stock of how we were, how we are, and have we
Exactly.
really changed. So yeah, that's
Yes.
something I would like to.
Yes.
Unfortunate, but true. Yeah,
Mm. Exactly. Yeah, 100%. What you said is absolutely true because, like how we were discussing, I mean, everything looks very perspective, considering the times then and now. But then few things which have to be worked on, profoundly, though those still been left over the same way. It's still the same. Like, everything else is same, but humans are still fighting on the,
absolutely.
all the things, and that human fight never ended actually.
It never
How
ends.
it never ends. So, however, we are technically advanced, or however we are educated, probably like you said, maybe education is something that needs to be worked on more. Everybody should get the right education, proper education. I think education is the only thing I seriously emphasize on that could change the face of
Everybody
this
should
world.
get the right education, proper education. I think education is the
Voice,
only thing I seriously emphasize on that would change.
Raika,
Everybody
what's
should get the right education, proper education. I think education is the
voice?
only thing.
Raika, is there a technical problem? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but just on that point, Swarna, if I can elaborate,
Mm, mm,
this person,
mm,
not only because he was my fifth generation grandfather, but this gentleman did a lot of interesting things that I also want to bring to people as a common man, as a common person. He
mm.
donated a lot of money to different education institutes. Even he went and gave money when the Aligarh Muslim University was being built,
Built. Yes. Mm,
right? So that is, and then he has also written that I gave whatever 5 rupees, 7 rupees, or 500. I don't remember the
mm.
value, but he gave that. Second thing is, this guy was really keen on getting himself and his family educated, including
Mm.
the girls.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people. I wanted to really, because there is always an image that people have,
Mm,
and I think when we work on books like this, we really understand that we are very prone to judging people.
exactly.
And this is some, if you go through something like this, you really understand, yeah, maybe what
Mm,
we have judged is just a one-off case. There are other things, good things also. So he
yeah.
also stressed a lot on education. And
Mm,
he died in 1911, so I am talking to you after 120 years of 110 years of his
exactly.
death.
Yes.
But I run an NGO in India. We
Mm,
are primarily, like I said, like you read that we are primarily helping children get educated, and it is
mm,
not that I'm getting any money out of it, but then I really feel at the core of it is my belief that the right education, like you said, is something that can possibly improve us. My hope is
exactly.
I've still not lost hope. Let's
Mm.
put it like this.
True. I vote for it. In fact, more than anything else, when someone, when the government can really focus on, the education as a primary thing, so it could change things for much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think has changed now from better to better or worse for us as as a country? Do you see we still are the same as a race?
I would like to do the positive part. So, a lot of like I said, rituals and customs that were there, inexplicable, but they were
Mm,
there. I think a
mm,
lot of them have been done away with.
mm,
So that is, as a society, we have changed, and I must appreciate that. So it's not all dark everywhere. I think that is something that we have improved.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think the overall quality of life has increased definitely, and all over the world, in India also. Uh, on the negative side, like I think we have mentioned this again, so I don't want to repeat it. But yeah, the clashes we're involved in, we are still
Yeah.
in that. I
Yes.
think we really need to work on, and it could be because I am based outside India in a place where different values are more prevalent. But for example, equality.
Mm,
These are things that we need to work on. Equality of human being, uh,
yes.
not just the gender
Gender.
equality or the.
Yeah.
I'm saying that this is something which I really want to advise every Indian, that the value of human,
Mm,
whatever
mm,
you are rich, poor, religion, female, male, whatever you are.
mm,
First of all, you're a human, and I am so depressed at times when I see that we do not accord the very human the way we treat urchins or beggars. I mean, they're also human, but then
yeah.
yeah. So that's something which I would like to see, but again, that's not related to that book. Maybe I got carried away, but yes, there are things that have improved, and there are things that we
Needs
continue to
to.
struggle and improve. But then
Yeah.
again, I would say that going through these type of works, it gives you a better understanding of how
Exactly.
it was, and then how we can improve possibly.
Hmm. That is true. I agree with it because see, somewhere books like this will help people to understand different perspectives, or different uh, things that are going through, and looking things in a different angle. That's why they say readers are more they're more mature in getting the things, knowledge and wisdom properly, because they read, the reader can live actually others lives by through books. So
Exactly.
that's
If I can just mention here, there was his my yeah, the diary writer's granddaughter. It was his daughter's daughter. She
mm,
got widowed at the age of 17 or 18.
mm,
And at that point in time, it was virtually impossible to get a widow married. And
yeah,
this
true.
gentleman got her married. So I
Mm,
think these are things that just to go back, relate to your last question.
mm,
These are things or evils that we have overcome. I don't think
yes.
it's, maybe in certain corners, points, certain parts, it is still a problem. But I would say in a general society, we are quite open to widows getting remarried. So that's
Yes.
that's a very welcome change.
Yeah,
Indeed.
for sure. Good. Let's hope for many more such good things to happen. And yep,
Absolutely.
that's the hope is the only way we that takes us going forward.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any specific qualities that you felt proud of when you read your ancestral diary?
Yeah, I must say one of them was that, uh, like I said, our legacy, the heritage
Mm,
that we have, and again, not with a sense of not being proud, but with a sense of pride. I say that because this is something that I really feel that it can help people understand what we were, what we have become, what we can be. I
yes.
think that is something that I'm really proud of when I started working on this. The amount of Also the amount of social work that the gentleman did. You know,
Mm,
not only for education, even for, he was a landed, uh, yeah, he was a landlord. He had enough. He was one of these smaller zamindar, but he was a zamindar. So the amount of help that he could provide
Hmm.
for his, let's say, the people who were working in his household, within his area of influence. I think that is something again very, very impressive, and I would like to imbibe those qualities from him.
Yeah.
Uh, that is one thing. If I have to take one thing out of him, another very interesting thing is self-assessment. Uh,
Hmm.
every year, and that's another interesting part that people who read the book will come to know, that every year this gentleman used to assess himself. What I have
Hmm.
done wrong, what I have done right, where can I
Hmm.
improve? It is a very
Yeah.
difficult task.
Hmm.
People like us, it's difficult to see bad in you.
Hmm.
We are always the
Exactly.
best.
Yes.
I tell it to people that everybody has an opinion, and that is the right opinion.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to look at you critically, look at yourself
Hmm.
critically, and try to improve. So this guy, this gentleman used to do this every year, and he always noted it down. This year I have done this wrong. I will try to improve next year. This year, so I remember one case. He used to believe in some superstitions, and then he
Hmm.
said, "This year onwards, I have stopped believing in them." It is so
Wow.
interesting, and I feel
Wow.
proud. I wish I could be like that. That I
I
can
just
look
love it. Hmm.
look back at me and say, "Yeah, Mr. Rashmi, you're not doing this right." It's difficult.
Hmm.
It's difficult
Yeah.
to assess yourself.
Yes, I just love that, the way he has written it in his own diary. It's like he's writing his own KPIs, every
Yeah,
year.
and it is difficult to be critical of your own self. So, uh,
Exactly. More than that, it is difficult to accept
yeah,
oneself. Yeah,
very difficult. Very, very, very difficult.
that's very, very gutsy thing, actually. Only then I believe, Mr. Saad, I always listen to this that, only when you accept who you truly are, there is a place to change who you want to be. Uh, you know,
Absolutely,
hmm,
absolutely, absolutely.
that
Yeah.
is very true. Unless and until you don't accept your flaws, then where is the question of, excelling yourself will come.
Right.
It's all in the
Until
acceptance.
we stop believing that our opinion is the only right opinion,
Only right
I'm
opinion, you
sorry,
cannot move forward in life.
we cannot move forward. And
Because of your other
so
points.
yeah, there was also one other very impressive thing was that he wrote about games. I remember when I was a child, uh,
Hmm.
my grandmother had a game called Pachisi. I don't know
Hmm.
many people know about that, and he has written that Pachisi is a game that's an evil game, it's a sinful game. You know,
Oh,
and
okay.
then I asked my people who knew him, or at least well, people did not know him who they did not
Hmm.
live till this time. But then I asked my maternal grandfather, why does he say? And he said that because people got so engrossed in that they left their family, their social life, their family life, their
Ah.
religion, their
Hmm.
responsibilities, and that is why. So it was, yeah, okay. I never thought that a game could be sinful. Like when I was growing up, playing cards was not a good thing because it
Hmm.
was always associated with gambling.
Gambling,
But then,
yes.
as you grow up, I started, okay, I can play cards as long as I don't gamble. So it's a very interesting, perspective that he gives on life of an average Indian staying from just after the first war of independence. A lot of his relatives, my own relatives, they got either incarcerated, they got killed. One of
Oh.
my, again, fourth generation grandfather, he was given the punishment of Kalapani. So he
Oh.
was sent to Andaman. So, and all that he's written in his book. So it's so interesting to feel because, again, like I said,
Hmm.
I also feel proud as an Indian
Yeah,
that
yeah.
four generations before me, there was somebody who fought for the country and he got
Yes.
incarcerated in Andaman. And I don't know where, I mean, of course, he must have died there, being buried there. But
Hmm.
very interesting things that you come to know of
That
your
is,
people, your city,
yeah.
everything, your food.
Exactly. You're blessed in a way because not all of us will have that legacy, but it's you're blessed that way that you have a legacy that's been, to carry forward in the form of
Yeah,
at least the diaries and in the form of
absolutely.
this book.
And again,
So
I must repeat the same thing. I just take pride in it. I'm not proud of it, but I really take pride in this, that we are in a position to tell people,
yeah,
what we were, or not only what we were, but what India was,
India was
let's say
exactly.
150 years back.
True, we should have a pride in it because we always tend to look at Western the best, but then we always forget what
Absolutely.
what what we were in the past.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. There's so much about. Of course, this diary originally, I have seen the original manuscript.
mm,
It
mm,
was 7,800 pages,
my goodness.
and in different. We used to in Urdu we call them jild, but that's basically bindings. I think there were
Okay.
5 or 6 bindings of that, and my grandfather
Mm,
he gave it to Khudabakhsh Library in Patna, so it is still,
mm.
let's say,
It's
kept
still
there.
there.
But I've seen that it is so good to see these things. You know, I like food, like
Yeah.
quite a few people. I know I also like food. So there was small snippets of the food culture of Lucknow, Awadh in
Mm.
that area. A lot about mangoes. There's a big
Oh.
debate around the world who has the best mangoes. I always say
Mm.
mine, but okay, people have different opinions. So it was so interesting to go through that, but then that whole manuscript I did not go through. I must say,
Okay.
my grandfather, he used to tell us in a like telling a story that this is what he
Mm.
used to write. But then when I started translating it, it really, it was a very interesting job. I enjoyed doing this work.
Okay.
I must say.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Great. I'm really looking forward to go through this book for sure. Okay. So, what interesting context do you see, which did not occur to you while being a part of the society that you're brought up in?
Um, I would say one thing that maybe I'm repeating itself again. One interesting contest I see is the education for all. I
Hmm.
think, and it's a sad thing in a way, but then again, that is to take it positively. It is something that we have improved upon. In the 1850s, 60s, 70s, 80s, when this gentleman was alive and writing, it was not education uh, was the, let's say, property of the privileged few. It
Privileged
was not
class.
for everybody.
Yeah.
And now, but when I was growing up, and even now, I think education is something that is there for all. So that is quite in contrast to what we were 150 years
Mm.
ago and what we are now. And
Yeah.
that is something which I would say is a very positive contest that I have seen, or contrast,
Okay.
at that time. I think now education is more accessible, it is more affordable.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and with that comes, yeah, some sense of equality, if not absolute equality, some sense of equality. We have improved on those counts. So yeah.
Yeah. True. Okay. Okay. What, if any, would you like to take up from this diary as a part of your daily life?
uh, I think we discussed, but again, at the cost of repeating myself, philanthropy. I would really like to, help
Hmm.
people
Okay.
get educated, uh, get treated better,
Yeah.
health wise and socially. I would like people to become self reliant, self dependent. So, a lot of these things that my great 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 grandfather used to do, I would
Hmm.
like to really imbibe them from this, whatever I have seen.
Hmm.
He used to give regular charity. He used to attend all these, functions, even for the, let us say, the lower strata of the society, to make them feel that they're also a part of us. Uh, so, and then, like I said, my NGO is a manifestation of that, I would say. Although
Okay.
I started that before I did the translation, but I think it is somewhere at the back of my mind, it was always cooking up. So I now can
Hmm.
say that manifestation of what is there in my genes. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not being proud, I'm just taking pride in
Right
what,
in.
what I have seen. So, yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So, okay, what are the lessons, if I would say, we can derive from such a masterpiece in terms of society and culture, if we want to pass it on to the new generation. So,
I think I would really like to say, that the social aspect of life, social aspects of life,
mm,
is something that, like I mentioned, and I mentioned that because that's a physical example he gave. It was his
mm,
own granddaughter who he got married after being widowed.
okay,
And then there were other customs like sati and all that, which is slowly we have almost got rid of that. I can say, and
abolished.
I'm quite proud of that. So, and then again, the way people used to stay, his one of his friend, a very close friend was his name was Raja. I forgot his name, but there was a Raja Mahendra Pratap. He was one of his
Mm,
closest associates. Been with him all his life, and you can see his mentioned so many times in the book, so you can see the connection. And
mm,
again, the way people interacted with each other, I think there was lesser vitriol at that point in time. I'm
okay,
sure things were there. People did have feelings
yeah,
against each other, but I think the vitriol was much lesser. We were also a more contained society, if I can say, uh, not like, and we are all victims of that. We want more and more and more and more. But
yeah,
at that time, I think it was a more contained society. So, if I
mm,
can again advise free of charge, I don't charge for
yeah.
this, but you know, I think. Being content or contentment is something that we should really uh, look into or learn from people like him or the other people that he has mentioned in the book. That's something that I
Mm.
would like to drive. So social improvement, contentment, philanthropy, help for others, etc., etc. All the good things.
All the good things, yes, yes,
Self-assessment.
exactly. Good. That's quite interesting, because yeah, like you said, contentment is a matter of question when it comes to this generation because none of us, however we went ahead in life, however we have earned so much and the facilities which we have and the luxuries we have, we are still not content.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but
I
then
want to
the
have one more interview with you then.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
Right?
That's very clearly visible for everybody if we deeply look into it. Because even when we compare to the immediate past generation, even when our parents are little more content than us, and their parents a little more content than us, it's like the ancient generation is more content, and then the generation going forward is very less focused on being content.
Yeah,
um
absolutely. I
yeah.
can also just give you an example of when I was again growing up. My grandfather, he used to have one slice of bread, not
Mm,
roti, bread
mm.
at night. Every since I have seen him, and that was it. And here I see myself. If I have, if I have whatever I'm having, I am never content. I want to hog more and more and more, and I can't overcome that. I don't know whatever we did, but then there was this gentleman who that was it,
That
nothing
was
beyond
it.
it.
For days together, that was it, and they never actually.
Exactly,
Seriously, I also look at it. Even I also think sometimes how to be, in control. That is something, that's something to do maybe with the discipline. Maybe they're well disciplined. Probably, they
absolutely,
that's it. They just yeah, stop the brain. They must have been instructing the brain more than the body. So
possibly they knew more science than us, so that's all.
exactly. Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so much, Mr. Saad Hashmi. That was wonderful. One of its kind of a book I have interviewed for sure. Something like relating the generation then actually, yeah, and the generation now. I mean, the book is quite different. Actually, looking at the title, I didn't get it what it actually spoke. But then after the conversation I had, I felt so interesting because that's what I was also keenly interested in when it comes to personal interest. So I just got so connected well. Yeah, it's considering a lot of people like history for sure. So and this kind of book has it all. They
Yeah,
can really
this
have
is
this nostalgic moments going through this wonderful book.
right. It is unadulterated history. If I have to promote it,
Mm, yeah.
that's how we see it. And
Exactly. That is
yeah,
true because that's a rarest thing. Like we generally read a history that is common. That the books that were published and the books we go through are like common historical books. There is no like from personal experience because you carried it because you have a legacy in your family. So that's how you got to learn it. But all of us don't have that opportunity. So we only have the general historic books which speaks about the general things.
right.
Not. That's true.
Just to let you know, I mean, Swarna, just to explain I'll just take one more minute to explain the title of the book. It's called Ek Nadi Roz Namcha. Roz Namcha
Mm.
is another word for diary or something that you write every day. Rose, every day.
Ah, okay.
And Nadir is something which, you can say a rare thing or,
Ah, okay.
which cannot be seconded. The
Hmm.
Hindi word Advitiya, a
Advitiya.
lot of these things. So I don't know if I can have one word for that, but yeah, in English it would be rare, and in Hindi it could be Advitiya in terms of. So it's a rare chronicle, Ek Nadir Roznamcha. So that is why it is, and this name was given to it by my grandfather, who has been my
Ah,
inspiration for life, for everything that I know. It's uh,
okay.
it's for him because of him. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great. Before this, what was the title before this?
No, because when he compiled this, when my grand
Ah,
he named it Ek Nadiroz Namcha. So I have
oh.
not changed the title. I have kept the same. I have put within brackets a rare chronicle, but then the
Hmm.
name says it all. So people who know Urdu, they will of course understand, and then people who are not so familiar with the language, of course, then for them it's a
Hmm.
rare chronicle. But
Rare
again,
Chronicle. Yeah.
like I always say, it is unadulterated history, not leaning left or right or
Right.
even center. It's a common man's history,
Yeah,
uh,
that happened
as,
then. The
as
stories
true
that
as true as
happened.
it gets.
Yeah, true. That's what is missing because that's what, as I've told you, we generally don't come across these in our regular historical books, which only you have that. But for that, I appreciate it because that's always interesting to know what happened during that time and how you people used to think, how what the games that you used to play, and their lifestyle, their food styles, and all these things that always have an interest
Exactly.
any point of time.
How they
Thank
got
you.
sick, how they got cured.
How they got cured. Yeah. So like, the pandemic is one beautiful point we have discussed, right? So, mm, great.
That's it gives a perspective.
Gives a perspective, totally. We must have not thought it that way, in that angle, We are probably going few years ahead, then people must be thinking the same about the corona.
Exactly. No, it's
Great.
so yeah. I really enjoyed that, and I said, as I said in the beginning, also it also is a lot of discipline to write a diary
Yeah.
every single day. He actually wrote the last chapter on the day of his death. So he wrote in
Oh,
the morning and he passed away in the evening. So
that's beautiful.
again, the same thing, parampara, pratishtha, anushasan.
That's
So
awesome.
anushasan, you can see that he was writing every day, and parampara, pratishtha, of course, for us, it's a matter of pride, and parampara
Yeah.
is what the legacy that we are seeing. So, yeah,
Great. That's a great learning. I just ended it in a very good note. Knowingly or unknowingly. I just love this point, Saad. Actually, for ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful point. So far we have been looking at it as a journal, writing a journal, like we have been told by teachers or things like that. Right, let's start writing the journals. But then see the advantage of this, because of the habit of writing the journal, that legacy has been carried forward. The next generations, have got to understand how the life was like in 100 years, 200 years back. So that was so interesting, for the future generations to see, right? So let us all start writing and putting down the things on paper, on in our own beautiful words. What are the situations happening now in our day-to-day life? Maybe probably 100 years, 200 years down the lane, like your next generations would be proud, take pride, as Mr. Saad Hussein is being taken. So they can take pride of the journals which we have written. So that way, it's also a good habit. Great. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable inputs and taking time, sharing your experiences and knowledge, Mr. Saad. It's absolutely wonderful. We had a very good time, and I think the audience also must have enjoyed it thoroughly.
You're welcome, Swarna. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I
Mm,
hope we can take out a few of these, yeah, good things that we
lessons.
can from
Definitely,
150 years
definitely.
back. But I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your time as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, that's it from this beautiful book, Ek Nadir Rose Namcha, with Mr. Saad. That's been a wonderful conversation, and yeah, I hope you all got some beautiful lessons out of it to take it forward to the next generations, and surely, surely, surely get disciplined in doing things and giving it to them to the next generation. Thank you, everyone in the room and who are watching us live today. And we have some beautiful comments pouring in. Uh, you know, yeah, someone says, Gautam says, thank you, Saad and Swarna, for organizing this session. Good luck with the book. Thank you so much, Mr. Gautam. And he sees his father writing daily for last 40 years. Exactly, that's what I've been mentioning in the last sentence. So maybe your generation going further would love to, read these things. Great.
Absolutely.
Arun Kumar says yes, unadulterated history. Kya baat hai? Yeah. Yeah, self-appraisal is really good takeaway. Absolutely. So Vandana Bhatia, very right. Accept the change you want to be, and then good going. All good comments and best wishes from Arun Kumar Jain. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us all through the while and enjoying the conversation. Thank you for all the love, and we are so grateful for your presence. I
Thank you,
wish I could
Swarna.
start
You take
writing
care.
too. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sad.
Bye bye.
Yep.
Take care.
Bye. Good luck. Bye bye, everyone.